March 26th of last year remains a heartbreaking day for us, since it was the day Cheonan warship was torpedoed. With the loss of 46 soldiers by a North Korean torpedo, the relations between the North and the South since then have been frosty at best. Today, with the one-year anniversary of the Cheonan tragedy looming, In Focus plans on discussing how the relationship between the North and the South changed, as well as how our military and national security measures have changed to address this tragedy.
A torpedo from a North Korean submarine struck Cheonan warship, killing 46 out of 104 sailors on board. It has been a year since the tragedy took place, and Cheonan warship currently rests at Pyeongtaek Navy Base, its moment of terror still on vivid display. The government took steps in May 24th and beyond to temporarily suspend the exchanges with North Korea, while urging North Korea to be forthright in their actions. Instead, North Korea's response to the Cheonan incident was that it was a blockbuster conspiracy controlled by the U.S. to justify South Korea's policy against the North. To make matters worse, on November 23rd, North Korea fired shots at Yeonpyeong Island, pitting North and South in an almost irreparable situation. With a hard-line stance against the North since the Cheonan crisis somewhat softened, and with the Army's crisis management system being overhauled, let's take a look at how the state of Korean Peninsula will unfold.
To discuss the security issues between North and South Korea in the post-Cheonan era, we invited two experts to our studio today. On my right, we have Dr. Park Chang-won. Dr. Park is the head of research for Korea Institute for Defense Analysis. Welcome to our program, Dr. Park.
Thank you.
And joining us on my left is Dr. Hong Hyun-ik. Dr. Hong is working for the Sejong Research Institution. Welcome to our program, Dr. Hong.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Hong, it's been a year since the North Korean torpedo attack sank the Korean warship Cheonan, and the tension on the Korean Peninsula during the past 1 year has been escalated to very dangerous levels, as the sinking of Cheonan was followed by another North Korean provocation, the shelling of Yeonpyeong Island. So let me ask you this question first. How would you assess the security situations on the Korean Peninsula as the sinking of Cheonan marks its first anniversary?
Yeah, last year's Cheonan incident was caused by a North Korean attack. And furthermore, in November, North Korea shelled the Yeonpyeong Island by artillery. And it caused four people's lives, including 2 civilians. Then the South Korea's national security environment has been worsened. And so in appearance, there is a peace until now. But in deep side, if North Korea conducted another provocation, our army promised to respond severely. Furthermore, there will be no more a hotline between South and North Korean military authorities. So it's a very dangerous security situation is happening now. So.
Dr. Park, some say that the Korean Peninsula is actually going through the most dangerous period since the end of the Korean War. So what do you think? How do you assess the security situations on the Korean Peninsula?
Actually, the last year was just the high peaks of the tension between the South and the North. And now the North actually shows a sign of dialogue to the South Korea without any kind of apology and the commitment of reprovocation. So now the environment in general is going to be eased, but the tension is still very high. And today it is the anniversary of the Cheonan incident. So we hope with the South and North Korea can be more stabilized on the peninsula and live together. But the reality is quite different.
Dr. Hong, one thing that angered many South Koreans here was that North Korea denied their complicity and actually blamed South Koreans for fabricating the incident. So do you see any changes in their attitudes or words?
No, I cannot find any change in the North Korean attitude about this matter. And last year, the investigation was launched by a government led by South Korean military authorities and civilian scholars. And their conclusion was the Cheonan incident was caused by the North Korean attack. And they found out the parts of torpedo, including its propeller and thrust shaft. And the multinational group of experts from United States, Britain, Australia, and Sweden supported also this conclusion. And this matter was reported to UN National Security Council. And the Security Council's conclusion was also the blaming North Korea's responsibility. But the opposition from China and Russia prevented the Security Council to condemn North Korea directly. That's why North Korea has denied totally its involvement in Cheonan incident, and they blamed South Korea and Washington for fabricate this probe. And they say that this was a plot against Pyongyang, orchestrated by Seoul and Washington.
Okay, maybe we can talk more about North Korea's attitudes toward the end of the show. Dr. Kwon, let's talk about how South Korea stepped up its military preparedness, because this incident proved that there are a lot of loopholes in South Korea's military preparedness. After the incident, the critics were saying that there is a serious problem in military procedures, there is a serious problem in command structure, and also the problem of alerting the authorities during emergencies. So, in your opinion, do you think these concerns have been adequately addressed after the incident?
Yes, I think the military actually tried to do best to address these problems. And not only the actual military, also the presidential office took the same measures. Let me first explain the presidential office measures. After the incident, how the presidential office and the military actually handles the situation, and those things actually questioned by the people and many experts. The presidential office expanded, improved crisis management organization there. So it responded very positively. Now the presidential office actually not only managed the crisis situation, but also analyzed the information and to take preventive measures.
So you think positively of the measures taken by the South Korean government?
Yeah, but in military side, Joint Chief of Staff also took the same measures, but they actually amended and changed the procedure of emergency situation report and process of the crisis management, also enhanced the organization to put more Air Force and Naval and Air Force personnel in the organization. Actually, in the past, the organization is dominated by Army officers, so there is some problems to handle the situation in a quick manner. So those measures actually have been addressed.
Dr. Hong, another issue that was raised after the incident was the asymmetric threat posed by North Korea. Critics were saying that South Korea is very vulnerable to North Korea's asymmetric threat. So could you first tell us what asymmetric threat is, and if it really does pose a significant threat to South Korea, what are the ways in which we can cope with these threats posed by North Koreans?
So far as conventional military strength is concerned, South Korean military power is far above North Korea's military strength. And there are more than 28,000 American forces stationed here. So North Korea feels threatened by the South Korea and the United States allied powers.
So conventional power.
Conventional powers. So they developed the cheap special weapons like nuclear weapons or biological and chemical weapons. And they cultivated special armies to infiltrate South Korea directly and in short time. So in Cheonan incident, we found that this North Korean capability is not so little. So it's really threatening to our national security. So after Cheonan incident, our government has mended the fences, and we should prepare for this asymmetrical attack. By sudden attack.
I see. Dr. Park, about 3 weeks ago, the South Korean Ministry of National Defense announced what is dubbed as the Plan 307. And do you think that the concern raised by, the asymmetric threat, that concern has been adequately addressed in this plan?
Yes, actually the part of Defense Reform 307 is to handle the asymmetric threat from the north. Actually, Dr. Hong mentioned before, the North Korean nuclear and WMD and other special forces, also submarine capabilities and long-range artillery and large size of special forces actually can strengthen our vulnerable assets of South Korea. The Seoul area is very close to the demilitarized zone, and the cyber attacks can easily disturb our network of the society. Those vulnerabilities are very intrinsic in our society. It's very hard to get over from the North Korean exploitation. So we'd like to do our best to make some kind of preparation for countering North Korean asymmetric threat. It cannot be done by our own capabilities, but also the RAG-US close cooperations. Furthermore, we should actually have to prevent or change North Korean attitudes and attacks by South-North Korea relations and through international cooperation mechanisms.
I see. Dr. Hong, let's talk about the diplomatic measures that we have been taking to sort of scale down the tension after the incident. I understand that both Koreas have proposed several measures, and the United States and China proposed several measures. So what are those measures, and how do you evaluate those measures?
So what is astonishing thing is since the beginning of this year, North Korea pushes for the dialogue and peace offensive toward South Korea and Washington, and they want to escape from international sanctions and international pressure, and also from the confrontational security environment, and they proposed the high-level military talks toward South Korea. Just a few hours after the Sino-American White House summit in January. And, but the North Korea refused to apologize for their last year's provocation and walked out of this corner-level preliminary military talks. And, but their peace offensive continued. And these days, North Korea withdrew from its demand on the North Korean boat refugees repatriation issue. And now Japan is striving to cope with the aftermath of earthquake and tsunami. And North Korea proposed joint research on the possible volcanic activity at Mountain Baekdu. And the United States, the North Korea policy is also changing now. So now Reagan Director General of North American Affairs of North Korea's Foreign Ministry, is attending a seminar in Berlin. And there are also ancient former American diplomats who took charge of North Korean affairs in U.S. Are attending also. And the economic delegation is now on tour in America at the invitation of University of California, San Diego. And the most notifiable fact is the former President Jimmy Carter, accompanied by ex-Secretary General of UN, Kofi Annan, and the other prominent international figures, are planning to take a trip to North Korea at the end of next month. So there will be a rapprochement between North Korea and the United States. Yeah.
Dr. Hong just mentioned recent moves taken by North Korea. North Korea so far has been refusing to admit their complicity in Cheonan incident, refusing to apologize for the shelling of Yeonpyeong Island. But recently, as Dr. Hong mentioned, they approved the repatriation of 26 North Koreans and also proposed the joint research on the volcano situation in Baekdu Mountains. So what can we really make of these gestures taken by North Korea? And how should we respond to these gestures?
I think the government and presidential office very closely consider how we will respond to those Korean suggestions. Actually, the government mentions will maintain the principle in South-North Korean dialogue, but the North Korea, as Dr. Hong mentioned, take a different approach to research on the Mount Baekdu areas and other humanitarian issues. So I think the government basically think positively on the scientific research and humanitarian issues. Also, as I mentioned, we need to actually ease tensions on the peninsula, but we should also forget the North Korea behavior and hostile actions. And North Korea continue to take provocative activities whenever something is going wrong. So we do have to change that kind of pattern of North Korean behavior when we make some kind of appeasement dialogue or other positive response to North Korean suggestions. So it's a little bit very complicated the issue, but we should some separate approach in the scientific areas and humanitarian areas, and some areas we can take more positive steps without any kind of political consideration. It's good, but the other point, actually, we should consider the North Korean behavior.
I see. Doctor, what about the six-party talk? I mean, only this year, the U.S. and China, they agreed that they would work together for the resumption of the six-party talk, because six-party talk is an avenue not only just to talk about North Korean nuclear issues, but to manage the crisis situations on the Korean Peninsula after the incident. So do you think that the six-party talk would resume in any near future?
Yeah, I think six-party talks will resume in the first half of this year, I think. And the last week, North Korean authority suggested that the uranium enrichment program issue will be dealt at six-party talks if six-party talks resumes. And North Korea also calls on the resumption of six-party talks without any condition attached. But South Korea and the United States give some prerequisites for the resumption of the talks, like North Korea's apology for the last year's provocation, and the key key prerequisite is the North Korea should demonstrate its denuclearization commitment through action, not by words. So it's a little bit difficult precondition for North Korea. But the China and the Russian authorities persuaded the North Korean authority to make some concession in this field, and like the returning of the IAEA inspection team and the moratorium on the nuclear facilities like this. So maybe next month, when Carter visit Pyongyang, Kim Jong-il make some suggestion about this, and then after that, six-party talks will be resumed at the month of May, and the one good signal came from United States. The United States is now considering to offer humanitarian aid to North Korea, and they are assessing the necessity of North Korea. So if United States decided to give some foods or fuels to North Korea, is very promising.
So I guess we need to prepare for the resumption of the six-party talk. Yeah. Okay, if we can talk about the naval drills prepared by South Korean Navy, there's going to be a massive maritime exercise which is scheduled to take place in the West Sea from the 25th till the 27th. So what are the major components of these drills, and what are the objectives?
It is the 1 year anniversary of Cheonan incident, so Navy conduct massive exercise on the east, west, and south seas. Actually, the participation units include all the most of surface ships and aircraft and submarines, and they conduct naval exercises on anti-surface, anti-submarine, anti-warfare drills. Maneuvering exercises, also live firing exercise included. So not only the naval exercise conducted in the area, but also Army and Air Force conduct artillery firing and bombing exercise in the area. So also the Navy and ROC and U.S. forces, as part of Fall Eagle exercise, also take some drills on amphibious logistics support exercise on the West Sea. It means that we'd like to send a clear message to North Korea how we are preparing to counter North Korean provocation and to deter the North Korean attacks. But it also is to prepare our strengthen our preparedness for military strengths.
I see. Let's talk more about South Korean policy toward North after the incident. Lee Myung-bak government's policy toward North has been fairly constant. Say that you did it and apologize. So he basically severed all the economic channels between the North and South. But do you see any recent changes in Lee Myung-bak government's policy toward North? And what are the policy recommendations that you'd like to make to the Lee Myung-bak government at this stage?
Yeah, our government is also considering some strategic change, not because of its own thinking, but because of U.S. government's strategic shift. So nowadays, our Blue House, our president is considering to restart giving some humanitarian aid for North Korea's ill persons or unprivileged class. And of course, the monitoring system should be fortified. But anyway, our government is also considering to offer some humanitarian aid to North Korea. And our government decided to accept North Korea's proposal to make a common and joint research on volcanic activities. And our unification minister also suggested that if this dialogue is good working, then we can proceed to the official levels talks. So our government is also thinking about the strategic change. Yeah.
I guess we need a more creative policy toward North, not a monolithic one.
Yeah. One thing is even though North Korea is a log state and their economic efficiency is very low, and the North Korean people are suffering from poverty and the hunger, and so North Korean authorities cherishes the national pride, and they want to protect their national face. So if South Korean government urges North Korea's apology with losing their face, they will not yield to our pressure.
Okay, I see. Well, this is all for today's discussion. Thank you very much for sharing your insights today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The most unfortunate part of the Cheonan tragedy is that it only heightened the warlike atmosphere between the North and the South. It is important for the South, however, to convince the North and handle them in a more fluid manner while maintaining the guard in case of an attack. Here's hoping the North and South will resume talks for the sake of safety. This has been In Focus. Thank you for watching.